We're live.
We are now returning from closed session. 3.02, certificate of action taken in closed session.
You have to come back in. Mr. Chair, I certify that to the best of our knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion to go into executive session were heard, discussed, or considered in executive session.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions on the motion? Roll call vote.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. We are now back from closed session. 3.02, certificate of action taken in closed session.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the personnel agenda as amended.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion carries. 3.03.
Got another one.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the fiscal year 26 employee contract and non-contracted employee scale.
Second.
It has been motioned and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion carries.
And I also recommend we approve the fiscal year 26 salary scales as submitted.
You did that. You did the contract renewals. You did salary scales.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
All right, 3.03, opening of regular meeting. It is the custom of the Buckingham County School Board to open each meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag and a moment of silence or prayer. If anyone is offended, it is suggested that you wait a minute after the beginning of the meeting. Let us stand at this time.
Sure. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all that you do for us, Father. Thank you for the rain you've given us, Father, to help your things grow, Father. We thank you for the opportunity to come here tonight to do the work of this community, Father. We pray that you continue to be with us, lead, guide, and direct this board to do the things that you desire, Father. Be with us as we make decisions on this school system, Father. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
It has been motioned and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries. Recognitions and presentation, 4.01, Teachers of the Month and Teacher and Employee of the Year.
Good afternoon, or good evening. It's getting later. It's my pleasure to present the Teachers of the Year for each of our schools. And as I call your name, if you could come up, and we have a plaque for you. Buckingham County Middle School, Chuck Meek. If you please come up. Okay. Dr. Garrett, if you're here, you can get sworn, please. Teacher of the Year for Buckingham County Preschool, Renee Schaefer. And please remain, that's it. Thank you. I tell you, once you win a Teacher of the Year award at preschool, that's a big event. Last couple of years, I enjoy all of them, but I really enjoy that. They get out in the hallways and dance. I'm not talking about one class, all of them. And sometimes they don't know who won, but they're happy. Renee has done a great job, and I appreciate you. Teacher of the Year for Buckingham County Primary School, Ms. Heather Page. Heather has done an outstanding job at the primary school, and it's not every day is a rainbow. It's but she stays with it, and the transition of moving these kids from a grade level to a grade level over 6 months' time is big. And we appreciate you too. Thank you. Teacher of the Year for Buckingham County High School, Melissa Fulcher. Melissa's husband told me as we were walking down the hallway with flowers and balloons, she's gonna cry. Yeah, and she sure did, and we're really proud of you. I got a chance to observe her class, and I was impressed. Thank you so much for what you do. Teacher of the Year for CTE, Ms. Amber Britt. Amber is probably one of the most popular people in Buckingham. Everybody likes her. Kids like her. I have an idea that a lot of you are here to support her. And appreciate you. Let's give her a big hand. I think I got everybody but one more. That's the elementary Teacher of the Year. It's been my pleasure to see and watch this person grow. I love to go into a classroom where kids are happy. And I think when I announced that you're the teacher of the year for the, for the school, I swear out of my right eye, I have 2 kids died for her. And she, the teacher was so excited, she ran out of the room. I thought something was wrong. And what she was doing, she was running down and telling the other teachers. And I found out that they put ribbon around their lights and stuff outside for the kids to get excited. That impressed me. And going back, some of our best work, SOLs, is in that transition from 2nd grade to 3rd grade. State superintendent came out to make a visit of her. She was so impressed, they brought a film crew back. And Miss Jalen Edwards, you're not only the Buckingham Elementary Teacher of the Year, but you're the District Teacher of the Year. All these people are Teachers of the Year. All of them, and we appreciate it.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
See out here in the audience.
Congratulations, ma'am. I forgot that in your class out of 10. Congratulations, ma'am.
We have one other award that we start, and we started a couple of years ago. By the way, the Teacher of the Year for the division gets a ring. Right? You got your ring on? Everybody see that? We get a deal with Herff Jones that he provides this thing. So I'm gonna have to get your ring size before you leave so that we can take care of that. Also, we have a Employee of the Year. Now, as a superintendent, you got to depend, let me say, as a superintendent who lives an hour and 50 minutes away, you got to depend on people. And I have been blessed, because this is not my first gig, I can tell you. I've had to, you're going to only be as good as your transportation guy or your person that's handling the things that go wrong in the buildings. And this guy has had great patience with me because I got my technology education in the 1990s when there wasn't any technology. So, and we have hired the best technology guy in the world, Patrick Moore. Come up.
Sorry, guys, I have to do this and blown up.
Here it is. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Patrick gets a ring too.
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Four dot zero two, Buckingham County CTE Spring Competition Results, Mr. Dale Fulcher, CTE Coordinator.
Good afternoon, everyone. Each year, we have several groups from the CTE department that go off to Virginia Beach or Reston, Virginia, or places like that to participate in their local and state competitions. And this year, we had several groups that really shined in the CTE department. So the first group I'd like to call up would be the FBLA group, which is Ava Taylor, Harmony Holman, and Piper Shaldo, and their club sponsors. There you go. So I'm just going to read a little bit about what each one of the students did. So Piper was in the Human Resource Management section, and she achieved remarkable success in the Human Resource Management event by showcasing in-depth knowledge of staffing, employee development, compensation, and employment law. She demonstrated mastery through a challenging 100-question exam, highlighting her understanding of modern human resource practices. Her dedication to preparation and academic excellence was a key factor in her outstanding performance, placing third in the state of Virginia. The two students that were not here were Harmony Holman. She placed in Introduction to Event Planning. Harmony demonstrated exceptional teamwork, creativity, and problem-solving skills. She excelled in both written objective and a 5 role-play scenario where she developed and presented detailed event plans under strict time constraints. Her ability to collaborate, think critically under pressure, and deliver polished professional presentations set her apart and secured her success in placing third in the state of Virginia also. And the final FBLA member was Ava Taylor. She excelled in the Introduction to Parliamentary Procedure event by mastering the foundational rules for conducting meetings based on Robert's Rules of Order. She demonstrated outstanding knowledge through a rigorous 100-question exam, showcasing her skills in organization, leadership, and professionalism. Her preparation, attention to detail, and commitment to excellence led her to place 5th overall in the state. These students have not only demonstrated exceptional business knowledge and skills, but also leadership and confidence and teamwork, and their success is a reflection of their commitment and the support they receive from each of you daily. They should be in there. The next group that I'd like to call up is the members of the Skills USA Welding Fabrication Team. That's Martavion Epps, Grayson Talbot, and Ethan Walter, and their instructor. On April 5th, the welding fabrication team of Martavion Epps, Grayson Talbot, and Ethan Walter competed in the 60th Skills USA Virginia State Championship in Roanoke. The team placed second out of 12 very competitive fabrication teams from across the Commonwealth and brought home a silver medal to Buckingham County High School. During this very difficult and demanding contest, the team used their blueprint reading, fabrication, and welding skills to fit up and weld/cut 5 different projects using 5 different metalworking processes. Under strict time constraints of 1 hour per project. The processes used included aluminum, TIG, carbon steel, MIG, carbon steel flux core, and carbon steel stick welding, in addition to carbon steel cutting of plate with oxygen and acetylene. This team was instructed by Buckingham County CTE welding instructor Chris Walter. Mr. Walter is extremely proud of the poise and grit that his team showed throughout the competition, stating that his team is unique in the way they collaborated to figure out the best way to accomplish the tasks at hand, and then relentlessly pursuing the project all the way to the final product. Mr. Walter also commented that in his time of coaching fabrication teams at the states, this contest was by far the most difficult presented to any team at the state level. On what the future holds for Epps, Talbot, and Walter, Mr. Walter says these young men are state championship caliber competitors and their capabilities are limitless. I can't wait to hear what great things they are doing in their years to come. Senior Martavion Epps reflected on his experience, stating that don't hesitate to get out of your comfort zone. You'll never know what great potential you hold or where the door will lead you. Following graduation in May, Epps is looking to continue his welding career as a trade school for welding. Ethan Walter will be attending the apprentice school at Newport News Shipbuilding for welding, and Grayson Talbot will be attending Virginia Military Institute for Civil Engineering with the goal of becoming a helicopter pilot. So I'd like to congratulate these guys.
Mr. Walter, Mr. Walter.
Congratulations and good luck. Congratulations.
Good job. Good job.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Hi, Mr. Walter.
You always do such a good job.
The next group that I'd like to call up is our FCCLA group. And that's Alexis Carroll and Dustin Harmon. So these students went to a conference in Virginia Beach to compete. And the Buckingham, Virginia youth from Buckingham County High School chapter of Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. They recently participated in a weekend leadership training conference held from April 4th through the 6th in Virginia Beach. The attendees participated in a weekend of workshops and sessions that challenged, informed, and motivated members and advisors and members. Buckingham County's FCCLA chapter advisor is Olivia Fridley. She accompanied 3 members to this meeting. To begin this, a little bit about this conference for the students. They were nearly 680 members participated in one of 101 STAR events, which are competitions that allow students to demonstrate proficiency and achievement in leadership and job-related skills. Students taking action with recognition is what STAR stands for. The events provide members opportunities to compete either as a team or as an individual. In Buckingham County chapter, members participated in the following events. Interior design was Kaya Eaton, she won silver medal. Alexis Carroll and Dustin Harmon, repurpose and redesign, won a silver medal and first place in the state. Alexis and Dustin also received a $10,000 scholarship for placing first in the state. Nice. The theme Dare to Dream was the FCCLA theme this year, and that was reinforced by Friday's opening general session, in which the meeting attendees geared up for a variety of leadership training opportunities. They had a motivational speaker for that conference that was Mr. Keith Davis, and his message engaged and entertained members while teaching them important life lessons and gave them ways to succeed in life both in and out of school. The Saturday morning business session allowed members to vote on issues relevant to the organization, including the election of state officers for the 25-26 school year. Members then participated in a series of workshops that focused on career exploration, leadership, and implementing effective service projects in their schools and communities. The banquet and evening session gave members a chance to recognize individuals who support the organization throughout the year. FCCLA is a dynamic and effective national student organization that helps middle and high school students become leaders and address important family, career, and community issues through family and consumer sciences education. The organization has more than 244,000 members across the country. Since the organization's founding in 1945, FCCLA has involved more than 10 million youth. And Family and Career and Community Leaders of America is unique among youth organizations because its programs are planned and run by members. It is the only national in-school organization which the family is at its central focus. Participation in the national programs and chapter activities helps maintain members to become strong leaders in their families, careers, and in their communities.
I know.
The last group that we have to come up is a group from the middle school, which falls under the Career and Technical Education program at the high school. So I thought it was fitting that we acknowledge their efforts as well. So I'd like to call Luther Llewellyn, Colin Snoddy, Kaylee Staten, and Brian Haldane, and their instructor, Sherry Dorier. So the Buckingham Middle School FFA members competed at the State FFA Forestry Career Development Event that was held Wednesday, April 23rd at Mountain Gateway Community College in Clifton Forge, Virginia. The team consisted of Luther Llewellyn, Colin Snoddy, Kaylee Staten, and Brian Haldane, and they were coached by Sherry Dorier. These FFA members spent the afternoon determining the diameter of trees, deciding the number of saw logs a tree can produce, identifying forestry equipment and common trees of Virginia, calculating the value of standing timber, and proving their knowledge of topographical maps. The Buckingham Middle School team placed first overall in the Southeast Area event that was held at the Stanton River Battlefield State Park in Halifax, Virginia on October 30th, 2024 to qualify to compete at the state level. They placed first in the state event, and individually, Brian placed third, Colin placed sixth, and Luke placed 10th. So I'd like to congratulate those students. One more minute. I did mention this earlier, but I would like to ask for one more minute. So our FBLA team will be traveling to, where are we going this year, ladies? Anaheim, California, to compete at the national conference. So we were fortunate enough to be able to send those students to that conference and their instructors. So they'll be going, when are we going? The end of June. So I'd like to congratulate them and wish them well on that competition as well. And there wasn't no, or at least Mr. Walter told me there was nothing beyond the competition that the welding fab team went to, but I wish there was, because we would have sent them as well. But they had advanced as far as they could go in their competition, because you have to finish first or you don't get to go to the national competition. So I still think finishing second was pretty darn good. And our FCCLA group is going to Orlando, Florida, around the same time that our FBLA group will be going to Anaheim. So we've got kids going to both sides of the United States. So we were able to send those students and their instructors as well to that competition. So I'd like to wish them well and have fun. Thank you.
Congratulations again to all of the recipients. 5.01, public comment. Anyone who wishes to address the school board must state their name and address and limit their comments to 3 minutes. This is a time for comments only. Board members do not respond to the comments made. Questions should be submitted to the school board in writing and will be given the appropriate person to answer as soon as possible. Is there anyone signed up for public comment?
Yes. Susan Omby.
My name is Susan Omby. I live at 2526 Bell Branch Road, Dolan. Good afternoon, board members. I'm speaking to you today as a member of the Buckingham Education Association. It is my understanding that the primary school is losing its security officer for the next school year due to the grant that funded this position coming to an end. As a BEA member and a teacher at the primary school, this is concerning to me. Even though it is not his primary job, our school security officer answers numerous calls every day for classroom assistance when our administration is performing other administrative duties, such as communicating with students and or parents, leading grade level meetings, and conducting classroom observations. Knowing that I would be speaking today, I asked our security officer if he could keep a tally of the number of classroom calls he responded to over the course of the past week. In 5 days, he responded to an average of 29 calls a day himself. Our principal has said on numerous occasions this year that we need help with some of the bigger behaviors that we are seeing with some of our students. Yes, it's a small percentage of our student population, but the effects that these behaviors are having on our classrooms, our staff, and could be having on the other children are very concerning. We have children who have experienced trauma, who may have been displaced, who have no idea how to regulate the strong feelings they are having. I hope there is a plan in place to help us navigate these situations. I don't think this is unique to our building, but I do know that some teachers who have a love for Buckingham schools are already questioning how much longer they can do this. This brings me to my second concern, which is the disparity of pay when compared to counties around us. When you met last year with the Board of Supervisors, it was said in their part of the budget meeting that they needed to increase the pay for one of their departments. It was either a health department or social services, I think, because they were losing too many people across the bridge. We are losing many veteran teachers to surrounding counties because they can make more money if they are willing to go across the bridge. Fluvanna, I looked today, Fluvanna pays $14,000 more for a teacher with 20 years of teaching experience. For 27 years, it's over $17,000 more a year. I know we have a budget deficit, but we will continue to see longer and longer lists of open staff positions if we don't better compensate our employees. Thank you.
Joseph Harmon.
Joseph Harmon.
Melissa Braxton.
Hello, my name is Melissa Braxton. My address is 2639 Branson Road, Dillon, Virginia 23936. I'll be speaking to you about an incident that happened in school. On April 15th, I received a phone call from Buckingham County Primary School informing me that Mr. Harshman had requested for me to pick up my son Jamal. I acknowledged the request and began contacting my sister to arrange for his pickup. Approximately 2 minutes later, I received a second call from the school. The caller sounded frantic. She said, "Hello, Jamal is out. He's out. We've called the squad." I ended the call and began arranging coverage for my work so that I could go get my son. My husband and my twin sister arrived to the school before I did. Upon their arrival, my husband observed Jamal lying on the floor in Mr. Harshman's office, and emergency medical personnel were on the scene. The school informed me that my son was unresponsive for approximately 10 minutes. They said that they lifted up his arm and it fell back down. They opened his eyes, his eyeballs were twitching very fast. They even said they went as far as performing a sternal rub on my son. For context, EMS1.com defines a sternal rub as the application of painful stimulus with the knuckles of a closed fist to the center of a chest of a patient who is not alert and does not respond to verbal stimuli. This is a technique commonly used by EMTs and paramedics in emergency situations. Despite this measure, my son remained unresponsive. As a mother, receiving this call was deeply distressing and traumatic as I send my son to school with the expectation to learn and to be safe, not to be physically abused. Somewhere in between my son being unconscious, Public Law 104-191 HIPAA was violated. The school nurse called my son's PCP and informed her that he was having a seizure. If Jamal was unconscious with all the above measures completed on him, how could this be considered a seizure? An RN would know that. The school nurse is Jamal's former RN as she worked beside his PCP in employment to his school. Nonetheless, I have never signed a release of information for information to be released from the school to his PCP. The first responders informed my husband and my sister that this was not normal and that this was not a seizure. The male first responder stated that he worked with kids all the time, and it seemed from what he had gathered from the school officials that this had been some type of hands-on intervention. The school informed them that my son had a seizure, as they did every time Jamal was restrained. First responders assured us that this was not a seizure. This was also confirmed and documented by the physician who evaluated him in the hospital. According to Jamal, his arms were forcibly pinned behind his back and he was taken down to the floor. Mr. Harshman wrapped his legs around my son's legs and his arms around his chest, restraining him tightly. Based on what I understand, the restraint was so forceful that my son lost consciousness and remained unresponsive for 10 minutes. Thank you.
Michelle Mosley.
Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Mosley. My address is 2538 Ranson Road here in Dillon, Virginia, and this is just a continuation to what you just heard. Jamal shared that he was trapped in Mr. Harshman's office and did everything he could to leave the room, but the security guard held the door shut, preventing him from exiting. This raises serious question and concern. If Jamal was already in a secluded room, what justification did they have for such physically aggressive restraint? What is in the school's protocol about seclusion? What is in the protocol in regards to restraining a child numerous times outside of camera view? I've never was permitted to see these restraints that were being performed on Jamal because they're always outside of camera view. The school thinks it's okay. The school board, what are your thoughts on this? What if your child was constantly being restrained so that no one can see what was going on because it unfortunately happened outside of camera view? This was an issue that had already been brought before the attention of the school board before, where the school board told me that they needed to come up with a plan about the blind spots in the school. Well, this is 1 year later and still nothing. Mr. Harshman shared that in his incident report that the restraint on Jamal only lasted 1 minute, and he let him go when he became limp. So he wants me to believe that he diligently watched the clock so that he let him go in exactly 1 minute. Maybe this is believable if there was a camera in sight. He also stated that he used modified techniques. Well, there is no modified techniques that should be applied in any instance that will cause someone to pass out for approximately 10 minutes. Jamal is now traumatized by this event. As a parent, I'm deeply concerned with the physical and emotional impact that this has had on him and potentially what it could cause or the effect that it could have on other students. I'm asking you, the school board members, what actions will be taken so that no other child can experience such harmful restraints? What safeguards will be implemented moving forward? What if Jamal had not awakened from that 10 minutes of unconsciousness? All we will ever know is that he was in the room with Mr. Harshman with the door being held shut by the resource officer. Thank you.
Jakaya Mosley.
My name is Jakaya Mosley. I wish Mr. Harshman would have never put his hands on my brother. Because of what Mr. Harshman did, I can't even hug my brother without him thinking I'm going to take him down to the floor. Mr. Harshman, God will handle you. What if someone did this to your child? How would you feel? School board, something has to be done about him. He put my brother to sleep with his restraint. What if he would have died that day? I will never forget or forgive this because my little brother is not the same because of the way you treated him. Thank you.
Kelsey Harris.
Good evening. My name is Kelsey Harris, Dillon, Virginia. This is also a continuation of what Melissa was speaking about her situation with Jamal. The Office of Civil Rights defines seclusion as the involuntary confinement of a student alone in a room or area from which the student is physically prevented from leaving. In this case, Jamal was confined to the room as a security guard was holding the door shut so that he could not exit while he was being restrained by Mr. Harshman. Therefore, he was indeed physically prevented from leaving. I can only imagine what was going through Jamal's head as he was stuck in that room with Mr. Harshman, someone who is a trigger for him and someone who he is afraid of. Now I ask you, the board, who are voted in by the public, what are you going to do about this? What if Jamal did not wake up from the 10 minutes he was rendered unconscious? Where is the integrity of the school? Multiple of your staff members are speaking of how Mr. Harshman handles kids with inappropriately, but are afraid to speak out about this because they have been hushed and afraid of losing their jobs. I'm glad Melissa is bringing awareness to this situation. He needs to be stopped. This needs to be stopped. This should not have happened. Let's come together to save the next child, your child, by working together to get cameras in the school. My mind can't help but to wonder, 10 minutes is a long time. Would this conversation be different if Jamal had not woken up? Thank you.
Michael Mosley.
Good evening. My name is Michael Mosley, and I'm at 3554 West James Anderson Highway, and I'm coming as a continuation of what my sisters just spoke about with the incident with my nephew, Jamal, and Mr. Harshman. Just to reiterate some of what my sister said, Mr. Harshman restrained my nephew, so he said, for a minute, and let him go when he passed out. So either it was more than a minute, or he applied some serious pressure to a 7-year-old to make him pass out, or a combination of both. What are the protocols when it comes to physically restraining a child? Because I've spoken to a couple of your teachers who said it should have never happened that way. Something needs to be done because it's always being handled with my nephew, and I don't know of any others, outside of the view of any type of cameras, which makes me think that it's being done purposely. Therefore, something needs to be done by the superintendent and by the school board to resolve this matter. And before I go to my seat, in the Bible, there's a word in the Psalms that's not to be read, and it's called Selah. And when you have a Selah moment, Selah means it causes you to stop. You're supposed to stop and reflect about what was just said. And so in hearing these come up to speak tonight, I want you as a school board members and as a superintendent to have a Selah moment, to think about what was just said to you all. And another Selah moment I want you to have is don't let it happen again.
Jack Braxton. That's the last one, Sandra.
All right, public comment is now closed. 6.01, approval of consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries. 7. Report of the superintendent. 7.01, recommend the transfer of special education equipment to Charlotte County Public Schools. Mrs. Jennifer Grazier, Director of Special Education.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to formally meet you all. I am very honored to be afforded this opportunity to meet with you today. In regards to the special education equipment was purchased for a student's needs who has now moved to Charlotte County. And in communication with Charlotte County, they are willing to purchase from us at the same price or the cost for that student, because we have determined that there is no other student with that specific needs. So I am asking or recommending that that transfer be approved.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to transfer the special education equipment to Charlotte County as presented.
Second.
It has been motioned and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries. 7.02, recommend approval of the 2025-2026 Annual Special Education Plan. Mrs. Grazier, Director of Special Education.
Yes, this plan was completed prior to my arrival here at Buckingham County. I have reviewed it. I have spoken with our finance personnel, and this plan is mirrored to what was completed before. It does cover our salaries, as you will see in the plan, and there have been no other changes that needed to be made.
Yes,
I have one question, and I probably should know this already, but the proportionate set aside, is that a percentage of the whole
Yes.
amount? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. And what is that used for? I mean, is that just in case something comes up that you need additional money, or?
Yes, and it also lists in the plan about the proportionate, I could put my finger on it. But yes, that percentage of money is set aside for needs that may arise.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions?
Mr.
Chairman,
Chairman,
I
I
recommend approval of the 2025-2026 Annual Special Education Plan.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries. 7.03, recommend approval of the Medford League basketball team for the 2025-2026 school year. Mrs. Grazier.
Yes, this basketball team is near and dear to my heart. It affords them the opportunity to play against other students with disabilities and specific needs. A letter was written by Ms. Stephanie Jones to me, mapping out the actual needs of the team as well as schedules, and I am asking for approval that this continue for next year.
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. The kids, even the kids at the high school love it. They love going to those games. I recommend approval of the Medford League basketball team for the following year, 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, ma'am. 7.04, recommend approval of textbook adoption and purchasing. Mrs. Christine Jansen, Director of Instruction.
Good evening. I have before you basically a board summary of all of the different material that we are asking for approval on. The governor, you may have seen, signed a bill that basically requires us to purchase high-quality instructional material, grades K through 12, in the core areas. And so this is Tier 1 instructional material, and it needs to be aligned to our state standards. That's a little bit different than in the past, which was in the past you would have your standards, and then they would have material, and you would, as a teacher, try to plug it in or fit it in. And now it's different. We're asking actual publishers to cater to the standards that are in Virginia, in the state of Virginia. And so these are state funds that are afforded to us and awarded to us for this particular purpose. It's not supposed to be for anything else but textbooks, okay? So the first piece of this is actually Amplify CKLA, and this would be for middle school, and it's English Language Arts. This is a continuation of the series that we are actually using and implementing in K through 5. And so we met with our literacy coaches from the state, and the team realized that we were out of alignment in Tier 1 with middle school, and it actually devised with the teachers, made that realization, and Dr. Garrett and his team fully vetted this and looked. We sent out surveys in February on these items, and so they're fully behind implementation of this particular program. And again, it's a continuation of K through 5. So that's the first. The second is Kidum Math, which we are currently piloting in K through 2. Again, it's a shift in standards. This is 100% aligned material. We are actually on the forefront. A lot of school divisions have contacted us to see what we have been doing. We wrote a grant, and that is what has paid for it. So Denise Bryan and her team they've been working very hard to make sure that this instructional material is aligned to what we're doing. And so because it's 100% aligned, that team as well, this is the direction they would like to go. And so that's the second item. The third piece is 3 through 5, and this is ongoing review. They're not at the same place. They'll be looking this upcoming school year about adopting actual material. And again, we're looking at our scores. We think it's probably going to go the Kidum Math way, but again, the state is starting to add different items because at the time that we were looking at adoption, there was only one, which was Kidum, that was actually aligned with all of the standards. And so we just want to make sure that it's properly vetted 3 through 5. It's 100% except for a 4th grade, and we're asking the vendor to please go back. I believe it's 86%, and we're asking, we would like 100%. Again, our bar is quite high now in the state of Virginia that we want aligned material. The 4th item is actually grade 6 through Algebra 2, and it's called Math Space. This is aligned as well. They have piloted it this year. We were very lucky that it was for free. We contacted the vendor, and we actually asked for extension. And so we've been using that this year. We again are on the forefront of this, and it's again 6 through 12. It goes all the way through Algebra 2, and all the teachers are quite enthusiastic about this as well. And then lastly, on these items, these are just things that we need. The state has changed the way that we're doing history, and so world geography is now going to shift to 8th grade. That is a high school bearing credit. And so I need to purchase material. I got in touch with McGraw-Hill, which is on the list, and they just unleashed or unloaded with their new standards, and so this is aligned material. So we need to purchase that, and that is 8th grade. And then lastly is history and civics and economics, which is 5 ponds. We just need to renew, and so that license has expired. So it looks like, and it is a lot of material. I'm excited because I still have $100,000 in the bank. And so again, it's because we're looking at, I've got science coming up, and I need to make sure that I have enough money. So I feel very good about our team and the work that we've done, and we continue to do to make sure we've got high quality instructional material for our kids.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the digital first mean?
What does what?
Digital first.
Digital first mean? So we have our laptops, right?
Yep.
And so they're going on carts next year. So the way that it'll work is a lot of the materials are going to be on screen, but then there's printable. So if you look at most of our teachers, what they do is they want textbooks like a series just for their classroom, or they create actual notebooks. So what'll happen is the kids will be able to view things on screens. Now the little people, we've adapted that. It's actually on a slideshow that's in the front, and then there'll be worksheets that they can print off.
So, just for my edification, so when we buy it, is it per student, or is it just for the school district, for the class sizes that we got, or?
It's a mixture of both. Sometimes you get a license that's large, and then some is individual student. So you have to predict based upon numbers.
So we're using whatever student capacity we have moving forward for the estimation for these costs?
Correct, and normally you go up about 20 students.
Okay.
Because we do have some bubble classes, like the class that's going through right now, that the seniors, it's a large class.
And I would imagine since it's going to be on carts and stuff like that, the children aren't taking the stuff with them. They can
Correct,
rotate
which
from.
is why there'll be teacher, you can produce the things, yeah.
Thank you for the
and they take them
clarification.
home.
I appreciate that.
You referenced your team. Tell us a little bit about your team and how you developed them.
Sure, so every school is different in terms of what they do. So, so for example, the primary building, okay? So that team likes a pilot model. So you go in and the teachers were eager to have new math material, and they jumped in. And so we piloted, Mrs. Bryant kind of took the lead, and she's been developing as we go. She, again, for CIP, which is our network, our group, she's the lead. Other school divisions have actually contacted her, and they have referenced her. If you look at board presentations from other series, actually one was Amelia, where they're actually referencing our program and the work that we've done. So that's been the entire school is doing that right now. And so that's including the teachers, your parents, et cetera. And then with your 3 through 5, they've just gone through an entire series with literature. And so they've got 2 math coaches that are working, and they were developing their own material that's aligned, and we had really good test scores. And so now we're trying to make sure that we pick material that matches up to what we're doing. And so we needed more time because we didn't like the 86%. So it's just dialoguing. And then with middle school, we had to get some literacy partnerships in from UVA. We brought them in. I know the girl, and we just kind of sat down and we had in-service and we talked. And they came up with it. I can't force somebody to do something. That's not going to work. You have to actually work and figure out the team. So they did better by having like consultants come in and talk to them, and then they realized Tier 1 is off. And then high school, unfortunately, as the state's implementing all of these things, it's not moving quick enough. And so the vendors, et cetera, haven't really published or done things that are up to speed. And so with the high school, it's harder because they're locked into certain things. And that's why I'm looking at next year, looking at some big time adoptions at the high school level. And what we don't want to have is a bunch of books in a book room and boxes. That's what we don't want to have. So they have to be invested and ready to roll. So it's just different in each building.
All right.
I have another one. You keep referring to alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming vertical and to state, and would you define it for me?
Sure. So alignment is you've got your standards, and you have to make sure the material matches up. And typically when you have scores and they all are falling in a certain region and it's a lower region, there's probably Tier 1 instruction that's off. So your main instruction is probably off. And so when you go into classrooms and you look, we've been working with vendors, with partners, we've received a grant. And that's one of the first things that you do is you look at your Tier 1. And we are there. Like we are so strong in Tier 1, they check us off now. K through 5 with literacy, we're checking that off. So when you talk to middle school, they're ready to check it off. And then you start diving into how are we doing questioning? What are we doing with the kids? Are we lowering what we're asking them? If we're taking a high level question and then we're actually turning it into like a thumbs up, thumbs down, we've just lowered the standards. So we just keep pushing the bar. If you listen to the governor, and I don't disagree with him, in the state, you know, we're having this disparity where the kids are underperforming. Well, why is that? We lowered the bar. And so we're asking that the bar go here. We were worried at first because Amplify is rigorous. I don't know when you guys went through the classrooms, if you talk to the teachers. I mean, it's a lot of writing. And our kids are performing. So I'm very, very proud of every single person here, the teachers, the kids, the parents that kind of work through this with us, and then also the administration. It really has been an amazing thing to me, and I'm proud of everybody.
Is there an alignment that goes between and I'll ask this because I get beat up about it, but anyway, from the different levels, the different schools?
Yes,
so
there's a
transition.
Yes,
right,
it's called a
actually,
vertical alignment.
Right.
Yep, you've got it. So that's what you want to have happen. So when you have a 6th through 8th grade team that says, we want to build on what our K through 5 buddies have been doing, that's exactly what you want to hear.
Or when you have them at the next level and they're saying they're not coming to me with this.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, yes, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, anyone else have any questions? All right, thank you.
We got to make a motion.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the textbook adoption and purchasing as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries.
Thank you so much.
7.06, recommend approval of property, liability, auto, workers' compensation, and student insurance.
Mr. Facilities.
Oh, excuse me, because I know he was at an emergency, but I see he came in. 7.05, facilities use form fee survey, Mr. J.B. Heslop, Director of Facilities.
Just a handout for you guys. It's exactly what's on the computer. It's just a little bit bigger font so you guys can see it a little bit better. Thank you for letting me talk tonight on the facilities use form. A little disheveled, so bear with me as I move through the presentation. I had a little situation we had to handle at the high school before here. First, before we even go to the comparison from Region 8, I'd like to just say thank you for KG, the building use policy that we have. It is a strong policy. It gives us, as facilities, it gives us a before a building use, during the building use, and an after action for building use. So I really like the written policy that we have, and it is connected to our building use form. So I really appreciate that. It's well written, and I lean on it a lot. As you're looking at the handout, the far left-hand side is currently our fees for each individual classification, such as classrooms or utilities. Across from left to right is our Region 8 partners and their costs for the same event or for the same category. I won't bore you with going across the whole thing. I'll just say that we are a little bit lower in some, we are spot on with some, and some we're a little higher. If you look at far to the right, that is a overshot of all of the Region 8, plus it's our math. So it's not only just, we're just trying to copy someone else's work, we've looked at the math and we figured out what each one would cost. And we're trying to get a close proximity to cover that cost when someone chooses to use our facility. So there's 4 categories, as you already know. Category 1 is our teachers using it. There's no charge for that. We pitch in, we help, we do. Then there's Category 2, 3, and 4. Category 3 and 4 carry the most fees. So when you're looking at the top or the individual categories, there's 2. There's like for classroom, for instance, there's $12.50 and then $25. One is for Category 3 and one is for Category 4, which is individuals and the most expensive. Just going down, giving you an example, I'll go into as much detail as you'd like to go, but for instance, the utilities, under the old form, it had us at $25 an hour. I know how they did the math. They used a school, an average school. They divided it by 31 days. They divided it by the hours, and they came up with that number. If you look over to the far right, a more accurate number now for our utilities is $40 per hour. That is given, everything's gone up, and also we use propane and we use heating fuel throughout the year to keep our buildings where they need to be. So that's more of an accurate number. The 3 below there are the screens, the TV VCR, and the LCD projector. No real need to change those. Those are not heavily used in our facilities requests. The above 2 there is lighting and sound, and then custodial maintenance. The old custodial maintenance fee was $25 an hour. A more accurate now one based on our Redcoats partnership is $36 an hour. So we would use whatever rate that they give us, and then we would put that in for each individual facilities use. And then let's go up to our old high school baseball field, football field, soccer use form, tennis courts. They went by game, which is confusing, and we didn't have a whole lot of use for that or need for that. So we just made it a little bit more easy to use, which was an hourly rate for us. So far right would be a pretty good suggestion. It's just a starting spot for you guys. It helps you as a board to know where we're at for cost covering, but we'll use whatever form is approved. Any questions for me on that? Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking, and I may be wrong, but I didn't think we even rented out the baseball or the softball field, but I could be wrong. I thought there was a...
There's nothing in our policy that would state we don't, but we haven't. We have not.
Right, that's, okay.
We haven't done that.
Now, if you were to say, out of all of the things that are listed here, what is used the most? Would it be the gym? Would it be the auditorium?
Good question. Usually, it's been the gym for different events, but the Carter G. Woodson Educational Complex is very popular right now. The gym here, this building is very popular to use. The gym at the high school has been used. But the Carter G. Woodson Educational Complex has been, the cafeteria and the foyer area with the slate has been used a lot lately.
Because one of the things that I always hear, just going around, and I don't want to kind of mention one particular group, but people always come to me and they say, well, you know, we should be able to use it. We're paying our tax money, and you know, if you don't let us use it, it's like we're double dipping. What do you say to those that present that type of argument?
That's a great question. You can see by looking at Region 8, the strategies of different boards. Some have their pricing structure so that it invites. Others cover costs, and then there's some that add a little bit of weight to the fees to make sure that their buildings are protected. I do know that some of the newer facilities, such as the gyms in some areas, they have a pretty hefty fee because they want to protect and they want to make sure that they're being good stewards of the resources that we're given. And you can see that reflected kind of on ours because if you notice, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I don't want to get deep into this, but like third or fourth one down for the cafeteria, the auditorium at the high school. We have a little bit of a less fee than some of the others because we are in need of some upgrades there. So we know what we're looking at. We're trying to be fair to people, but also make sure we're diligent with every resource that you guys give us.
Also, I've had a few questions as well about the gym or the renting of it. Say if we're having a benefit for somebody in the community that may have a health problem and they want to rent the gym out, how do we go about doing that? And what is the rate for, say, somebody that's in our community that's local here?
Well, we would go by the policy that you guys have for us. We'd figure out where they fall, category 1, 2, 3, or 4. And usually I get help on that because, you know, I have my idea of where they fall on that, but I always call like Miss Oliver, Miss Jacobson. We figure out exactly where they fall on the category list. Okay. An individual would fall on a category 4 for us. And so we would look down the fees, make sure that we have an hour before the event and an hour after. They have to have $1 million worth of insurance because we have to cover the school system in case someone is injured. And we have to make sure we're due diligence. And this form is a blessing to me because I lean on it. I go to policy. I have a procedure that we use. You know, it's in this folder here. I won't bore you, but I brought them in case we got to go that deep. But I lean on it. I've used your policy to make sure we're covered, and now I have a procedure that we follow. So it's fair to everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
JB.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
The track and the tennis courts, you know, there are something that they're in a cycle, you know, depending on how we use it. I know our tennis courts are not in great shape.
Well, they could use a spackle of paint, as my grandma would say. Yes, sir, definitely.
I don't know if something like that can. We're charging $125 an hour. That's what we're proposing.
Currently for the tennis court, sir, it's $50 per game, which is confusing. How many games you have? We don't use that much. Todd is having a, when I say Todd Shoemaker, rec department, we work well with him. He's category 2. He is having a tennis tournament, which is a good use of that. But as far as individuals or other clubs that use that, we don't have that many people that use that.
And we don't have individuals, you said, right? Reserving any of the properties?
We're not allowed to have individuals, but individuals are allowed to sign for their organization. In fact, it is encouraged for an individual to sign for their organization. That way you have one go-to person. They're the event planner, and using your policy, that's what they're called, and we go to those guys if we have any issue. And we've been, because of the one we have, the KB, I've been able to go back and talk to recently, I'll just say recently, I've had to speak to an organization that stayed a little too long and showed up a little too early. They were very, very nice, easy to work with, and we managed to recoup the fees, and we've moved forward. We have a good relationship with them. So, and just a reminder, if this is too big of a pull for today, or you guys want to come to a decision, we have a facilities committee meeting coming up on June 2nd, at which time we could run it through there. I could get deep into the weeds as far as how we use it, and then come back, but that's up to you guys.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Just one more question, and you can just give me your opinion. With those that are using, say for instance, the gym, if we were to adopt this, do you think that that would preclude them from using it, or how do you think that that would affect those that are currently using the facilities?
I would say that if you're going to use it, they would find a way to use it. And I have to also, from a facilities management standpoint, I have to protect our assets as a county as well. So the floor that we polish and we re-shine every summer, you know, I don't want to get out here and say how much, but it's a dime. It costs some money, and I want to make sure that we protect that. Our bleachers going in and out, I have to protect that. The lights on, I have to protect that. And if you want to use it, we have fees for you to use it. I think they're fair. They cover our costs. They're not, shall I say, price gouging anybody. Is that appropriate to say? We don't want to do that. We want to work with the community, but we have to make sure that, that we're covering our costs. I want to be very diligent with that. So that's kind of how I would answer that question.
Thank you.
And to be fair, I'm fairly certain most of the other buildings in the community, are, you know, other organizations are charging as well. I mean, the barn
Yes.
does. I mean, most any other building you use are going to charge you for it, outside of churches, obviously.
They are, yes, sir, rather expensive. Yes, sir.
No, I think is this for like immediately? Or we're going to talk about the next
Oh,
fiscal
it'd be
year?
wonderful if you do. Then I'll change the form and we'll change it online, but that's totally up to you guys. I just wanted to bring you the disparity across the Region 8, and then where we were and how we can better cover our costs.
Where does the funds go? Where does the funds show up at?
The funds go back into, I guess, your,
They go to the finance department and
into
facilities.
the
Back to
maintenance budget.
facilities? Okay, wonderful.
That's why we want to go up.
Wonderful. Yes.
I make a motion to approve the facilities use form fee,
As presented.
fees that you have submitted to us.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
7.06, recommend approval of property liability auto workers' compensation and student insurance for 2025-2026. Mrs. Patty Branch, Director of Human Resources.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I guess you had a chance to look over the renewal. If you notice, it is a little bit more this year, about $30,000 more. The reason for that was there is a percentage, there's a claims history experience modification factor, and it's based on a 3 years average of your claims. So, unfortunately for us, ours went from 0.92 to 1.52, which was a 65% increase. The reason for this, the year that went off of that 3 year average was a COVID year. We only had $1,800 worth of claims. The year that we picked up, we had $210,000 worth of claims. So it was, our average was skewed greatly this year because of the very small number to the increase. So that was the rationale behind it. Does anyone have any questions?
You hope that it'll come down next year?
We do. When I talked to the VACORP representative, he said, you know, that's just like you hit the perfect storm to go from that little to that much.
At least it's 3 years, not 1 year.
Right.
Because that could hurt us even worse. I make a motion to approve the property liability auto workers' compensation and student insurance for the fiscal year of 25 through 26 as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. 7.07 Southern Regional Education Board School Improvement Making School Work Conference. Mrs. Melissa Haynes, Director of Student Services.
Good evening. This is an informational piece. I just wanted to share some good news with you. We received a school improvement grant at our primary, middle, and elementary schools. And so part of that, we are able to go to this conference, the Southern Regional Educational Board Conference. It's Making School Work Conference. It is in Louisiana, and we will have, let's see, I have up to 6 staff members from our primary, the same at our elementary, and from our middle school, we have 4 staff members who will be attending. And this is fully funded through the school improvement grant, so no local funds will be used to send our people to this. It covers everything. The trip there, their food, travel, the registration, hotel, all of it. And so it's a great experience for our staff members to be able to go, and I wanted to share that with you, and then we'll share information when they return about what they learned that they'll be taking back to their schools. So.
Did we do this 2 years ago?
Yes, they have gone to a previous one in Florida, so this is just a different location.
And you said it was up through middle school?
Yes, yes.
It says on the thing, K through 12. We don't have anybody at CTE doing
Well, the
this?
conference is K through 12, but we got the grant
For the
for
others.
primary,
Gotcha.
elementary, and
Gotcha.
middle. That's
Gotcha.
correct, yes.
Point of clarification. Thank you, ma'am.
Of course.
7.08 recommend approval of the 2025-2026 Title II Part A Supporting Effective Instruction Grant. Mrs. Haynes.
Yes, so we have 5 title grants that we apply for every year, and 3 of them are ready to be submitted now. They're shared in the documents here. Title II is for supporting effective instruction. It is a class size reduction, so it's able to to pay for a teacher so that we have smaller class sizes at our primary school. So that's the full purpose of that grant. So I'm just asking permission to be able to submit that to try to be awarded that grant.
How much?
The exact amount, it's the exact same amount as last year. It will change. So we just have to apply for the same amount. I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but it's essentially 1 teacher salary.
To reduce
The class sizes, yes, yes.
Of how many class sizes?
Well, it'll be 1 extra teacher at the primary school so that this number is smaller at that school. I think it takes it from 21 or 22 per class to 19 by having the additional teacher.
Without benefits, just the salary.
Well, it covers some of our benefits as well.
It covers the administrative, non-administrative, and what else? Anyway, it's $106,236.05.
Yes.
At least one of them does.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
And this is a reoccurring grant that?
Yes, we've gotten this for several years, so it's the exact same grant. And like I said, once we get our new allocation, we'll adjust the amounts, but we base it on the amount we received last year.
Sounds good.
Any more questions?
I make a motion to approve the 25-26 Title II Part A Supporting Effective Instruction Grant as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries. 7.09 recommend approval of the 2025-2026 Title III Part A Language Instruction for English Learners and Immigrant Students Grant. Mrs. Haynes.
Okay, so this is the Title III grant that we've applied for as well. It's a very small grant. It's about $3,600. It will support materials, a small amount of PD for our EL division teacher, and some licenses for a program that we use. Lexia we have at the middle school currently for our English students, for English classes, but we have a Lexia English program that also works for our EL students. That it's in conjunction with that. So we purchased some additional licenses for that. But it's a very small amount, $3,600. But I'm just, again, asking, it's the same as we've done this past year, so just asking approval for that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the 25-26 Title III Part A Language Instruction for English Learners and Immigrant Students Grant as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries. All right, recommend approval of the 2025-2026 Title V, Part B, Rural and Low-Income School Program Grant. Mrs. Haynes.
Last one. So for this one, this again, the Title V Rural and Low Income School Program. This is what we have used for our computer technology teacher at the complex, and it supports the salary for that position. And we received that last year. We did not have that grant previously, so it's been a great thing for us to be able to have that. And so we just want to continue to try to apply and receive that grant as well.
You know what, I did have a question about the last one, if I could. So what is the process in terms of if someone comes in and they're an English learner, immigrant, or they don't necessarily speak English, what is the process by which it is that we kind of evaluate them, or how does that work?
So we have an EL division teacher who will do the assessment. So once they come in and they identify that they are of a different language, then the EL teacher evaluates them within the first 30 days that they attend our school. And I don't know, you oversee some of that as well with the EL teachers, so we work in conjunction for that. But that's the process, and then she would go from there. We have different testing we do, WIDA testing and access testing. It's all of that through our program for the EL students, and to see what their level is and what their level of need, and then the EL teacher will provide that service throughout the year to them.
What service? Which service?
Whatever services they need. She comes in, if they need accommodations in their class, she helps them to determine what that need might be. It's different, it's very individualized, kind of like our IEP programs for our students, creating those plans.
Are we not, or are we, I guess would be the best way, are we required to have translator-type references for every class that they're in?
It's not a requirement, but it is something we're trying to provide, so we have been purchasing that. Ms. Carilli and I have been working to build up our supply of that. We do have an iPad at each school that can be used, but then we're purchasing the Pocket Talk translators to have. So we've been trying to use this small amount of money to continue purchasing those. We also have the dictionaries and other resources that they need for the vocabulary enhancement.
I was going to say, because I've been told that, I know some teachers are using their phones in the classroom, which goes against one policy. And then, of course, you know, I read somewhere, and I don't remember when, it was summertime last year, that we were supposed to have for our, back then, I think it was ESL, but English learners, that we had to have some sort of, I guess, pocket, whatever, available. So I was just kind of curious if we were kind of.
Well, we didn't have
falling
any previously, and so, you know, when I started with it last year, that was one of the first things we purchased was the iPads and the Pocket Talk translators. And
behind. But one per school.
one iPad per school, but then we also purchased the Pocket Talk. We have 2, and we just purchased an additional 3, and then we also did earbuds to try to have a variety of resources at hand. Again, all of that's very expensive, and so just trying to use our money wisely and have as many as we can.
So, I mean, if someone, and say, for instance, they don't speak English, and they come, and, I mean, is it someone sits in the classroom with the iPad, and they say, you know, 2 + 2 = 4, and then it translates it to them, and then they're, I mean, how does that work?
Right, and some of our resources have translation with it, because of course the EL teacher is not there in every class, every day, for every student. And so that does put an extra strain on our teachers to have to come up with a way to reach these students. Some of our resources have translation, some do not, and we're working through that, trying to figure out the best approach. So it's not 100%, it's not foolproof, but again, trying to do what we can with the resources we have. So it does look like that sometimes, where they have those resources. We do have another resource, I guess it's really Synchros is for our parent communication. You know, it's an online, like through the phone service to do the translation. But so that's just another piece to it that we do pay through this.
Okay. Anyone have any questions about the Rural and Low Income School Program Grant?
That one's $68,000.
And again, that amount might change slightly once we get our new allocation. But we have to apply using the previous year amount.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the 25-26 Title V, Part B, Rural and Low Income School Program Grant as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries.
Thank you.
7.11, recommend approval of the health, dental, and vision insurance coverage for 2025-2026. Mr. Chuck Clement, Savvy Health, Inc. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, Board, thank you. Dr. Keeler, thank you. It's been a rewarding year, I believe, in organizing and understanding what the possibilities are for the health insurance program. I just want to take a second to say thanks to Courtney and thanks to Wendy, because every time we change something, it affects them, and they have to pick it up and make it change. So I'm not lost with that. Administrative folks just get, most of the stuff runs downhill, and I'm appreciative of it, and I will have to beg for their forgiveness because we're asking them to change a little bit again, so we'll start there. On the second page, I just wanted to review a little bit about a couple of things that may have been lost in the shuffle throughout the year. One of the bigger things that we did that gains little attention is we moved to FFGA, First Financial Group of America, for some services. Heretofore, you had been paying for COBRA. The employees have been paying a fee for HSAs and flexible spending accounts. And when we adopted FFGA, all of those costs went to zero. So it's been a part of our strategy here is everywhere we can have an opportunity to take a dollar and make it zero, we've tried to do that. Now these are small numbers, these are not large, but we all know they keep adding up. $15,000 here, $10,000 there. A couple of items in there, 1094s and 1095s, so it's like the fourth or fifth bullet point. That's a pain. It's a federal law that you have to print those documents. The IRS did make a determination after we printed them all this year. Next year we'll be able to put a notice on the website, and the only time we'll have to print one of those documents is somebody wants it. That's a big deal. So the cost will drop from about $4,000 to $2,000. Those fees they come out of my fees. So you don't pay extra for that. I just take it out of there. But anyway, that's a big deal. The other piece of that is during open enrollment, which starts Monday, the employees will be given the opportunity to participate in group benefits as well as individual benefits. And we know that group benefits are applicable to some employees and individual benefits are applicable to some employees, but this gives them a choice. And the group benefits are generally 30 to 50% less than the cost of individual. So, but the representatives will be going over that. On the next page, we get into the medical RX, which is prescriptions, dental, and vision. This is a little bit of overview where we are. First box to the left is it's for the third year in a row. We're maintaining the, well, I'm saying here it's for 24-25, but it's the second year in a row, you maintain the employees' rate at the same. Jefferson Health Plan that we entered into the year with, we absorbed a 13% rate increase at the beginning of this year. We changed the third-party administrator from WellNet, from BPA to WellNet. Dental insurance transition to Delta Dental. We retained MetLife. It was the only thing that stayed the same, I believe, in the year. Wendy's shaking her head. And we introduced the concept called 501R. So a lot of change happened this year, a lot of it fundamental. While we're on this page, I'll just speak to Delta Dental for a second. We did get our rate increase from Delta Dental, and it's on a fully insured plan. The way they do their calculations is not unlike Jefferson when you look at the numbers. The claims were actually under or at the premium paid, pretty close. However, they have a factor for safety that they have, which means they need more money in their pocket to offset potential costs, administrative costs. I figured that would happen because anytime you change dental, usually the first year of the plan, everyone takes advantage of it and then it sort of normalizes. It's not like medical, there aren't big swings in cost of that. So once I saw the increase, which was about 20%, round numbers, I said, well, give me a quote for self-insurance, because I knew self-insurance would be lower. And I presented that to Wendy, and we agreed that we just keep the dental rates the same. Self-insured would allow us, it actually cut out all of the admin costs that they were giving us. And so we're able not to have any increase in dental and no increase in the vision MetLife either. Over on the next page, we talk a little bit about what's coming up. Down the left-hand side, third consecutive year, no increase for the employees on the health insurance cost out of their check. We're retaining Jefferson Health Plan. It's officially called the Jefferson Health Plan. And we were successful in negotiating a 0% increase there. And I think we all know that that would have been an unpleasant number for you to have to eat this year, or any year, but this year particularly. So you're talking about $500,000. So it was not trivial what that rate increase was. So that's down to 0. And then we've been talking all year long, and we've renamed it, we call it Savvy Health, but what's that mean? Well, what we're doing is we're taking the current plan, keeping it the same, but creating this significant enhancement, and we're giving your employees the choice of doing the same, paying their deductibles and copays, no change, or calling a concierge care team by phone, text, and if they call or text that entity, our concierge team, for any service, primary care, outpatient, inpatient, they will have 0 deductible and 0 copay. To this point in the year, the employees have invested over $500,000 of money out of their pocket into the healthcare system. So in addition to what you pay, they're paying that piece. This plan, if they use the concierge desk, means that $500,000, it'll be more than that, it'll be about $600,000 by the time the year runs out, could be 0. And what that when they call that concierge desk, what that allows us to do then is we call the service provider, make the appointment, and we negotiate with the service provider for cash. Now you should be aware there is a Senate Bill 3548 that actually has bipartisan support, which is an anomaly in itself in U.S. Senate, for all service providers going forward to be transparent on their cash costs. That's how big this is. So even the government said, you need to declare to us what your cash costs are, not all of these negotiated contracts. We want to know what, so that is a transparency law that has bipartisan support that is moving through the Senate, and we look for that sometime over the course of the year. So we're a little bit ahead of that, but we're still going to be doing those negotiations. The third piece of that, we anticipate no less than a 15% savings on the total plan spend. Your total plan spend is about $4 million. When you look at our partner, so we have Covet, and underneath Covet is Mishi, which is our concierge team. When they deploy this other places in the country, and Mishi puts it on their portal, they're very open about their ability to reduce the medical, inpatient, outpatient spend 40%. Now, I don't use that number because when you talk about those numbers and you've been paying and increasing year after year after year, somebody comes in and says, we're going to save you 40%. Some of those numbers aren't real, but that's their history in being able to have a concierge desk. The employee calls, we do all the work, we take care of it, we negotiate with that service provider, we pay cash, and that's a savings. It's significant. But I thought you'd be interested in the Senate having a bill doing the very same thing with transparency. We'll continue to push the 501R. That's included in the concierge desk. There's a survey that when an individual calls in for the first time, there are questions asked. So it's done very professionally. Prescription drugs, I met with the new prescription drug company. It's still Caremark, but every time you have a different TPA, you have a different contract, and we have to negotiate those. So the 30-day generic prescription will be zero. 80% of the prescriptions that your guys get are the 30-day generic. So that means generic prescriptions go to zero. So no cost to the plan this year. We're taking the opportunity for the employee not to have a deductible, not to have a copay, no increase in the Delta Dental, and free 30-day prescription for generic drugs. On the next page is a little graphic. If you wanted to know how this works, this is your model. This is how it works. Over on the left-hand side, if you want to use your Cigna network, these are the steps you go through. That's what you do. That's what goes on now. Over to the right, you call the Michi Concierge Team. You'll see at the bottom, that's our local number. So we now have the local number in place. So when July 1 hits, they call that 434 number, goes to the concierge team, they take over and take care of the employee or member of the household. And the last page is questions.
Yeah, I got some.
Yes.
So the text, is it using the same phone number?
Yes, you can use the same number. Yeah. That same number is used at Covet, which the folks never will go to Covet because it's the concierge desk where they are. But yes, you use that number for text. I use it today because you have an employee that called me over the weekend. In fact, he called me while I was fly fishing. And he asked me a question, and I called Michi. I said, "Can you help now?" And they said, "Yeah, use our new number, text me, give me the background." And so we're working on him because he has a service provider that does not have a history of good service. Michi knows them, and they will get behind the scenes and help him before we even get to the July 1. So, yeah.
Yes, sir. I got a question about the dental insurance. I've had a couple of people come to me and ask me about a local dentist does not accept Delta Dental. And I actually went and talked to that dentist as well. And he said the reason why is because they take an extremely long amount of time to pay him. So was there any other avenue, or what is the answer to this question?
So he's not in their network because they're slow pay? Is that what he's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Takes an extremely long time.
If you can give me the office name,
Okay.
what I will do is I'll call my contact at Delta Dental.
Okay.
They love dentists in the network because that's more dentists in the network, the more they make, the more money they have to make.
Okay.
So I need to get that squared up.
Okay.
And if I need to, I'll go by the dentist office and talk to the dentist.
I'll get with you.
Please give me that information.
Yes, sir.
That's my report, guys.
All right, well, thank you so much. I know you've been working hard, and we see the fruits of all of your labor and what you've been doing a lot of work, and so it's much appreciated. So thank you.
Last comment, I will reiterate, Troublesome Creek Medicine did agree and is going to sign up. And so any of the employees that go there, there's no money out of their pocket to go as many times as they want.
Where's that at now?
Do what?
Troublesome Creek, is that the one down?
Right across from McDonald's.
Yep. Front of our house. Across from the firehouse.
Yeah, right across from McDonald's. And we're still negotiating with Central Virginia. We had one, Centra decided not to move forward. Didn't surprise me. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the health, dental, and vision insurance coverage for 25-26 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions on the motion? All All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries. 7.12, recommend approval of the 2025-2026 payroll dates. Mrs. Wendy Oliver, Director of Finance.
Yes, sir. This is the payroll dates for next fiscal year. The payroll distribution dates are as previous calendars with the last worker day of the month, and this does follow the approved school calendar.
All right.
I make a motion to approve the 25-26 payroll dates as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, motion carries. 7.14, recommend approval, 7.13, recommend approval of the 2025-2026 budget.
Good evening. Tonight, we are requesting the adoption of the proposed 25-26 budget. This budget is built with the governor's version of the state budget, which is we are projecting to be adopted in June. Buckingham County's current enrollment pre-K through 12 is 1,833. State funding is based on K-12, and our total as of the end of February is 1,733. So the pre-K kids don't count towards that. We have seen a decrease this school year, close to 28 students since the last time last year at this time. This is a breakdown of regular operations revenue projections based on the governor's budget version and an ADM of 1725. Internal local budget projections have no changes. The state funds total an increase of $763,695, mainly for the compensation supplement and the support cap increase. Pre-K funding has been reclassified by the state and moved from SOQ funds to their own funding classification labeled Early Childhood Care Education. Other state grants are decreasing by $45,736 due to the one-time grants such as active learning and security equipment. Federal funding is decreasing, a total of $576,107 with the ending of all ESSER grants and small adjustments to title grants. The cafeteria fund has a small projected increase in state and federal funding based on current year's revenues and adjustment to the state's budget in school lunch revenue. This budget includes a 3% salary increase for contracted employees July 1st, 2025, and an hourly employees will increase to $15 an hour effective in January 2026. As was stated earlier, there will be no increase in insurance premiums for next year. The state's bonus payment should be distributed to division by year end and will be distributed to employees in the fall. And up there, I don't have this. Yeah. Is the regular budget proposal, and our current year local $403,500. You see what the proposed for 26 is. Same. State, $19,309,224. For 26 is proposed $20,072,919. This difference of $763,695. and it breaks down, you see the breakdown of SOQ funds, incentive funds, categorical funds, lottery funds. I never thought I'd see the day that they go down, but they're down $51,180. Early childhood care, it's a 200. It's proposed to be $303,591, and that's for finance year 26. Other state active learning and security. Our current budget was $314,922, and for 26 is $269,186. So we lost there $45,736. Alternative ed and safe, stable. Current 113,739. Proposed was 100,930. That's a loss of $12,809. Medicaid, $0 in the current budget, $30 in the proposed budget for through 26. SPED tuition, CTE, and DCIS, $138,256. There's no difference in the proposed amount for the 26 year. So it's the same. Under federal, the safety, VDH, ESSER, and Title 4, Title 1 through, let's go back. Safety, VDH, ESSER 3, and Title 4, $504,167. And proposed in FY 26, $0. A difference of $504,167. I mean, this is one of my worries when we lost the federal grants from Washington down to Richmond. I thought that might be a chance that we lose some, and it looks like we are. Title 1 through 5, IDEA Perkins, $2,695,935. Proposed 26, $2,623,995. A loss of $71,940. Local appropriations, non-recurring, $1,464,426. Proposed for 26, $237,613. A loss of $1.2 million, $1,226,813. Recurring, $8,893,298. And so for this budget year, that is $8,947,298. That's an increase of $54,000, and we know what that is. Regular operations budget, this past year, $33,585,472. Next year, $32,554,511. That's a decrease of $1,030,961. Any questions?
Yes, I just know there's a kind of lot of confusion. You mentioned about the switch from Washington to Richmond and how we could potentially lose certain funding. Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, you know, before there was ever talk about coming or taking the federal grants to the state, we kind of figured what would happen. And even before the election results were in, they were talking about probably the first thing that would happen is that they would be a cut in title. So that, you know, that didn't surprise us, but the amount hurts. And I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what the future holds. I strongly suspect that it's gonna depend on each state's ability to pick up the deficit of that. Virginia, pretty strong, and probably equipped to do that better than a lot of states. But we depended on, I remember somebody asking me, and it was, I think, $1.25 million that we depend on. So that's something that in your budget process, you're gonna have to continue to watch. And budget gets more and more complex.
Any other questions?
Well, it might be important to go back to hit some of the three key criteria for our staff, which was the raises, right? You mentioned the raises. The other one was the bonus. I don't know if you want to allude to that or wait, but talk about the bonuses, and there was one other one that had to do with the teachers or our staff as a whole. I think it's important to not gloss over that, because I think, you know, it was kind of lost in the process of covering the budget as a whole. But there were, I think, three big takeaways for them, and that one of them was, of course, the raise coming up from the budget. I think it was because the staff has asked about the bonuses, so I think it's important they know that that's coming. What was the time frame again? Because I thought you said in the fall, but I think it's going to be, was it, I don't remember if we want to cover that or not. But suffice it to say that that bonus is coming.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Expenditures include the 3% increase contracted employees July 1, 2025, and the $15 an hour salary.
Which is, that's the one,
Non-contracted.
that's the one I was missing, but it's effective January,
Yeah.
not with the new
January
fiscal. Right.
26.
Yes, sir.
Well, and we also need to say that with this budget, we're gonna end up losing 3 people because we have to reduce our force. So that's another thing that it's just, we just can't do anything to help with those salaries like we thought we would. We're way back now. We're 1.2 million less than what we had last year.
You know, you're exactly right. And all boards are going to be in this position looking. Next year, probably be a little deeper. Does that make sense? So to find ways where you can save money, and I commend you for this. You have a unique health insurance procedure that I think is going to work. And hopefully, if people do what they're supposed to do, you know, about calling in, and let the person book your thing and do it, save money. I hope that someday will be, that money you could put in the cookie jar and say, you know, I know I got this here to help offset. I'm not saying it's gonna do it all, but I'll tell you one thing, I think it's got, I think it's got the way that you can get something back. And it didn't come easy. You know, the governor kind of stalled, but then when he went back, he did give us our cap, which, well, it's about 300-some thousand. We got an extra 82,000 for special ed, which just puts us better than what it was.
It's one of those things, kind of like you alluded to before, Dr. Keeler, it's having a backup plan. I think it's critical. Whenever you put in for grants for your kids going to college, or you put in for scholarships, grants, money, right? When you're asking for X, Y, Z and they give it to you, there is no guarantee that you're gonna get it the following year. And I think it's the same way across the board, the government. I mean, we're not guaranteed any of the grants. We're not guaranteed anything from the state nor the federal. So I think it's critical for us moving forward to understand that fact. You know, we can't control the temperature of the governments that are higher than us, nor our own local government for that matter. But, you know, I think it's critical for us to have the backup plan. We know that certain things are non-recurring. That's why they're non-recurring. And I think it's critical for us to keep it in perspective. You know, yeah, we're showing a deficit of $1 million basically off of last year's budget. But when you start looking across the stuff that was already identified as non-recurring or grant-specific monies, for us to have a backup plan, I think moving forward in the next cycle, I think it's going to be critical, you know, just to be ready for that. Personal opinion. But I think at a $1 million deficit, it looks bad at the bottom line with it being red and stuff like that. But when you start scrolling through the numbers for your non-recurring and your grants and stuff, hey, we weren't guaranteed that stuff. We weren't. Right. So I think it's just a point of, you know, fact for us, I think. It's my 2 cents.
All right, anyone else? Okay, how do we want to proceed? Need a motion?
I'm going to make a motion to approve the 25-26 budget as amended.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion carries. 7.14, recommend approval of a 4-day work week starting the week of May 26th through the week of July 21st.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the 4-day work week starting the week of May 26th through the week of July 21st as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion carries. 7.15, student liaison report.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here are some of the highlights from the last few weeks at BCHS. FBLA just hosted Color Wars last week and had several student participants from each grade level. They've also already elected officers for the 2025 through 2026 school year and are preparing for nationals this summer in California. SCA also just elected officers at an induction banquet last Sunday. SCA members participated in Teacher Appreciation Week by providing an ice cream sundae bar for teachers, along with providing goodie bags for teachers. Tuesday, May 20th at 1:30, SCA is sponsoring another signing event for 4 baseball players in the high school auditorium. Last week, the culinary class had a food cart delivered to the CT classes every day during 2nd and 4th block. These selectable treats included pretzels, brownies, cookies, and pizza sandwiches. The money they earned is helping fund FCCLA Net Nationals this summer. FFA club sponsor Casey Davis sold flowers for Mother's Day. FFA is also hosting an induction banquet this Friday that will also be an awards ceremony for members. This summer, they leave for state convention on June 9th and come home on the 12th. The Rise Up Club is preparing an all-day pickleball tournament next week on May 22nd. It is $3 per team to play and $1 per class period to watch. There will be snacks, drinks, and a message from youth pastor Savannah Huddleston. Students are currently wrapping up the school year with various finals and SOL testing. And 14 students are preparing for the Belize trip that is from May 28th through June 3rd. And finally, graduation has been moved inside due to the weather forecast for this weekend. Thank you for listening, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of your week and a good summer.
Thank you. Let's give her a hand. That was wonderful.
That's how you speak up.
Literally, we're gonna see you on TV one day.
Hopefully so, if I'm good enough.
You sound like you're ready to take my job.
We'll see about that, Mr.
That was wonderful. 8.01, school board member committee updates.
Well, I don't have a committee update, but I do have a report on an in-service or a training that Mr. Gregory and I went to called the Trust Edge Experience. And it was talking about how when you build trust among your board, that you can get a lot more accomplished. I thought it was very good training. You want to add something?
Absolutely. It was great to work with other people from other districts. Excuse me. Coming in the middle of the board that's already established, you know, people, they got to get to know me. So it was good to go in and get the pillars of the training and get the understanding of how a board is supposed to work and the different things we can bring back to this board to make it stronger and to build our trust as a board to ensure that our community is believing in us and is trusting in us.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Anyone else have anything? Oh, I did want to say on last night, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Teresa, if you want to say something, that we had a banquet, that we had the where we recognized the seniors of the month and those that are retiring. And I must say to all of those people that were involved, the people that were serving, I saw Mrs. Jansen running around like she was just everyone was working so hard and just was working so diligently. And I just wanted just to say thank you, thank you, thank you. That was excellent. The way that everything was set up, the way that the lights looked, Patrick, the way that Wendy kept me going in the right direction. And of course, Dr. Keeler getting upset that we're making a fuss about him. And he was working as well, but everyone that I saw that was working, they were dressed in black. I almost couldn't even see them because my eyes. But thank you all so very much. That was so wonderful. And man, we really showed our community what Buckingham County schools are all about, and that's what it's about.
I just wanted to say, we just had Teachers Week and Principals Week and Vice Principals Week, so we all really appreciate every one of you, and sorry if we didn't come out and bring flowers and cakes and all that stuff like some of the people did, but we do appreciate you.
All right, anyone else? All right, seeing none, hearing none, I now declare the Buckingham County School